Well, good evening, or afternoon, or morning, whenever you happen to be reading this. It's time for another episode of Paul's R2-D2 building blog. Now, I've got a bunch of things I've been doing to the droid. Obviously, since last time you saw it, it was laying in pieces, and today it's sitting here next to me. Well, minus the head. And I thought today we'd kind of step back and talk about paint. I know a lot of the R2-D2 builders out there get asked questions about it. Thought maybe we'd go over it real quick. Now, when we were first getting involved with building the R2-D2s, I joined the well, not really the organization, but the club that's on Yahoo back in 2003. And the big question was, what's the screen accurate white? Because we all want to build droids that look just like the one on TV, or obviously the movies. So, upon looking around, some of the guys found that the screen color they used was it was an off-white. It looked almost creamy, and the closest thing we could find off the shelf that matched it almost nuts on was Wimbledon White by Duplicolor. Now, I don't know if you can tell from looking at the cap and looking at this white, but this white is definitely creamier. It's not your basic flat white. It looks like similar to maybe the appliance white you would see. Well, a couple of the guys painted their R2-D2s like this and realized that, well, when they took the pictures, it looked great, it looked perfect. However, in person, it was still creamy colored. It just didn't look right. Well, turns out that was by design, because when you have these guys on camera, the bright lights are shining, and if it's super, super white, it's just going to get in the way. Oh, hello. Anyway, moving on. So, we found a solution, that being Rust-Oleum Satin White. Now, for $3.99 a can, it's off the shelf. It's model number 7791, and it goes on perfect. And if I can get this up here in the boonies of Maine, if I get a scratch or ding or I need to pack something up, this is the way to go. Thanks for helping, buddy. Now, painting aluminum. I just spent the weekend painting my dome. Good old R2-D2 blue here. Now, even before you start thinking about the blue, you got to start thinking about how you're going to treat the metal. What you want to do is you want to file it, you want to sand it, get all your edges nice and smooth, and then you want to use what's called an etching primer. The etching primer, what that's going to do is that's going to eat into the metal, and this way when you put paint and primer on top of it, it's going to stick better. This is the Duplicolor brand. I prefer the Rust-Oleum because the Rust-Oleums tend to have a better tip on them, and you get a better spray pattern. These go on with kind of a flat pattern, and I've broken 2 or 3 nozzles on these, so it hasn't been my favorite. After that, hey Pudgey, I like to go with a filling primer. What the filling primer does is going to go on there and it's going to fill all the imperfections and the little divots that you can't see. After that goes on and dries, sand it smooth. After you've sanded it, if you have an air compressor, blast it. If you have a wet dry vac, vacuum it. If you have old t-shirts, wipe it down, because after the primer goes on, if there's anything left on there, it's only going to be magnified by the paint. Now I use what's called Krider blue, which is a method that is a formula rather, to get as close as we can to R2-D2 blue. R2-D2 blue is actually House of Color, and I can't remember the exact, don't mind me. The House of Color paints are auto paints. They're not very inexpensive either. I can't get them locally, and I'm a little gun shy about ordering expensive paints and not doing it right. Well, one of the gentlemen came up with a formula, and what we do is we use our Rust-Oleum metallic or deep purple. If you're keeping track, it's a 7255. You spray this on until it goes on looking wet. You don't want to go too heavy, you don't want run lines, you don't want spin lines, you just want it to go on look wet. You wait 15 minutes. And then, again, we're at the mercy of Duplicolor here for this one, we go with Duplicolor anodized blue. This goes on, you wait 15 minutes, and then we jump into the world of crystal clear enamel. Now, you're going to notice when you put in that blue on top of purple that it just doesn't look right. It just doesn't look natural. But once that starts to take and you get that first coating of enamel on there, sorry about this, you're going to start to notice that the blue is starting to come out immediately. What I do is I went with 4 coats. Mine's going to be working in a hospital. I'll be using a lot of disinfectants to wipe them down, so I'm hoping that the disinfectants won't kill the clear coat too much. Not too worried about the white because, again, $3.99 a can, I can fix it. So anyway, 4 coats of this, and you wind up with an end product of this. So, that's it for this week. On behalf of myself and my fat cat Pudgey, thanks for joining us.